There we Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Thursday book launch. I'm Malika Albrecht, the co-founder of Redheaded Stepchild, and tonight we are going to be celebrating with Elizabeth Wilson. I'm super excited to have her here. I am going to read a brief bio. Just a reminder to mute yourself so that we can keep our focus on who is speaking at the time. And if you'd like to read a poem and haven't had a chance to get on the list, please send me a message via the chat section. That would be wonderful. So Elizabeth, the question I wanted to ask was something I saw on Facebook about being related to Emily Dickinson. Start there?
Sure. I have been doing a lot of research because I often feel just alienated from my own family history. And so the Latter-day Saints, the Mormons, they have a free genealogy website, and they're really wonderful about keeping records and providing this free resource for people, because they're praying for dead people, basically. They believe that even the people who have passed on can be reunited if they pray enough or something. I know I'm getting this terribly wrong, so if you're a Mormon and you want to explain it better, please do. So if you plug in your family tree into that source, they have all kinds of things like famous authors and presidents, and so I looked up Emily Dickinson, and I'm like distantly related.
I love that. When I saw it, I was like, I have to ask you about that. That's fabulous story.
It was just a random thing that I found. So, and Emily.
Yes, well, I'm not surprised at all, but I love that detail, and I thought I need to ask what you had done, and I knew nothing about the Latter-day Saints website. And
yeah, it's called Family Search.
Okay, I'm sure other people are writing this down because I am super curious.
So now you can go and I'll find out how you're related to Emily Dickinson.
That's awesome. Okay, so Art said, I'm not LDS, but they baptized the deceased using surrogates.
That's right. Thank you. Who said that?
Art did. Thank you, Art.
Thank you, Art. I knew someone would know.
Isn't that a lovely thing about poets, is they often have lots of knowledge about a wide variety of subjects. So Elizabeth Wilson is a chronic illness advocate, Rising Voices of Narcolepsy speaker, an aspiring tap dancer. Again, I have questions. She won the 2021 Patricia Dobler Award, and her first book, Windowpanes, won the 2021 Sappho's Prize in Poetry. Her poems have appeared in Asheville Poetry Review, Cold Mountain Review, and Voices from the Attic, among others. She received her MFA from Hunter College and currently resides in North Carolina mountains with her partner and her son. And we are so thrilled you're here tonight, Elizabeth. I'm going to turn it all over to you.
And I just decided I was going to read another poem that I hadn't planned to read, but because Emily Dickinson came up, so later on. Thank you so much. This is such a wonderful opportunity. This is my book. It's called Windowpanes, and I am nervous. This book is especially meaningful to me because it came together after a very long illness. I had been ill for a very long time, and my symptoms, some of my most debilitating symptoms, began to remit, ironically, during the pandemic. And so this book represents every scrap, fragment, draft that managed to survive that illness. So recently, someone asked me to describe what this book was about, and I found this profoundly difficult. I started to describe, I tried to describe how it attempted to, let's see, I wrote it down, to describe intersections between love, loss, longing, and disability while attempting to navigate disparate landscapes, both internal and geographical. But then I realized that actually it's just a book of love poems. In fact, pretty much every poem that I write can be characterized as a love poem. So I guess I'll begin with one of those. And this is Your Sister Brings Me an Orchard. This is the first contest submission poem that I made when I started to feel better. And I specifically entered it because it was associated with Mad Woman in the Attic. And I felt like that was symbolic and appropriate since my illness had sort of trapped me in my own attic of sorts, or closet. Anyway, it ultimately gave me the confidence to put this book together. So Your Sister Brings Me an Orchard. Each day after class, we sit on steps together, and she pulls apples from her purple backpack. We talk about impact, the body in relation to space, in relation to the body, or the body in relation to itself, the body in relation to another body. I talk circles, like rings inside a tree, suggesting growth, but I'm going nowhere. I suggest things. I don't indicate my need directly. I am more ashamed than afraid of judgment. I would drown for you. I would deny my body to protect you. I crouch, walk with bad posture, because I'm afraid of taking too much space. I'm afraid my body will speak ahead of me. Nights I sleep with you, I bend and crease myself into the sheets, the way I cover this paper with my hand. The next poem, My Mouth is Penitent. I tried to appear as casual as the woman beside me at the bar, the one whose black suit I've been hanging on to all evening. I'm afraid of conversations I will never have. I would tell her I want to kiss her, but my mouth is full of winter, dead leaves and clattering branches. There is nothing lush between my lips. I dream my teeth crumble into my hands. I should tell her I'm afraid of kissing, but she won't believe me. Instead, I read her lips, watch her tongue lick her finger, turning page after page of my biography. The next two poems describe the journey that my partner and I took, moving from coast to coast, from San Francisco to New York to North Carolina, and everywhere in between, eventually landing in the North Carolina mountains. Getting there. We had been lovers 1 month shy of a year when we decided to leave the city. What you gave up for me, anonymity, your sense of safety. The day we decided to move, you planned our route, traced your finger along the Appalachian outline. You pointed to Mount Mitchell, informed me of its altitude, 6,684 feet, the highest peak east of the Mississippi. You said we should take our time getting there, study the geography, document the changing landscape, the rise and fall of elevation, the topography between us, here and now, then and there. My lover searches for the rental car. It's dark in the parking garage. I wait on the curb while you search. Your fingers trail each car like braille. You come back empty-handed, lean to kiss me. My chin inches forward. My eyes close the instant my lips brush yours. A reflex, as if only the blind can kiss. My next poem references a particular time when my partner was making a long commute to teach in a North Carolina prison. It gets its title from a conversation we had when I expressed some concern for her safety. And she told me that sometimes she feels safer in a prison than she does out in the world. So this one is called, You Say You Feel Safer Locked Up. Our first year on the farm, I wouldn't let you go to the grocery store alone. I stopped whatever I was doing, clambered into the car beside you, believed my presence could protect you. Now, when you drive away to teach men in the Max facility down the mountain, I wonder if the state trooper idling on the overpass ramp will catch you in his speed trap. Will he notice your license marked female, your boy body in the driver's seat? I beg you to obey the rules, traffic signs, speed limits. What I really mean, don't call attention to yourself, as if you could be visible only to me at night when the world softens and blurs. A related poem, When You Drive Away, describes the anxiety that I experienced every time my partner would travel down the mountain to teach. It's called When You Drive Away. I double check the locks, my watch. I count mileage and minutes, factor potential delays. 78 minutes down shoulderless roads through narrow rows of state-owned machinery, bulldozers and drag lines gouge the alpine edge, while workers wearing orange safety vests juggle coffee cups and warning signs. My next poem harkens back to a time in the not so distant past when same-sex marriage was illegal. It's called My Marriage. We each have our sides. 6 years now without a license. I could leave easily, walk out the door, out of our childless lives. Nothing holds me to my side of the bed, my back to the wall I cup, you in my curled body, murmur under my breath. Yes, I do. Take you, choose you. Vows we speak each time we share an avocado. You carve out the fruit. Show me the hollow boat. Finally, am I doing okay on time? Okay, I'd like to share just a couple of new poems. Just to provide some context, this next poem references a lifelong fascination I've had with the Morton Salt Girl. Do you guys know the Morton Salt Girl? On the, yeah.
I too am fascinated with the Morton Salt Girl.
What?
I too am fascinated with the Morton Salt Girl.
Yeah, I mean, and the slogan, I mean, when it rains, it pours. Story of my life. So anyway, it's it's called When It Rains. Salt Girl, safely inside. Oh, these are not in this book. These are just newer poems. When It Rains. Salt Girl, safely inside the kitchen cabinet, holds her yellow umbrella casually. Nothing threatens her covered head. My mother reaches for the dark blue carton. Her knotted fingers grip the white outline of Salt Girl's careless face. She fills the crystal shaker to the brim, throws over her shoulder the little she spills. Meanwhile, rain falls on rising water. Shifting silt muddies the creek, overflowing both sides of the bank. My mother isn't afraid of thunder. When lightning strikes the power out, she lights candles, saves one for the walnut coffee table, where I practice cursive. I kneel at her feet to show her my A's and E's and O's, while she sits in my father's brown leather chair, peeling oranges. She hands me one sweet slice at a time. Do I have time for one more?
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay. So I hadn't planned on reading this one actually. Still kind of working it out, but because of the Emily Dickinson question, I feel like I should read it. Okay. Let's see. Hopefully I've got the right version. Uh-oh. It's called, it's called My Father's Eyes, if I can find the right version. See, this is what happens when you do things on the fly. Let's try.
I'm thrilled that you're willing to try it. You know?
Okay. I keep getting the wrong one. Oh boy. You know what? I might have to skip it just because I don't know which one is
Multiple
the
versions.
current version. Yes, I'm very bad about that. How about I do another
And just, I'm letting somebody in just real quick. Heather Taylor, if they got in safely. Sorry about that. They're coming in.
okay. So I'll close with this one instead. It's called The Unraveling. My mother slips the yarn from its sleeve. She positions me like a marionette, elbows bent, palms facing each other. She finds the end. Oh, I have to start over. The unraveling. My mother slipped the yarn from its sleeve. She positioned me like a marionette, elbows bent, palms facing each other. She found the end and began wrapping left to right, periodically stopping to free a knot until the yarn was wound into a ball. Every skein we worked this way, my mother and I, perpetually unraveling, winding and rewinding yarn from each of our hands, held, wrapped, tangled, and untangled. Over and over we worked, stacking ball after ball in her knitting basket. It is this way with grief, no matter the shape, how neatly wound. One snag can pull it loose, and then the unraveling, and then the starting over again and again. Thank you so much.
That was a gorgeous one to end on. Thank you, Elizabeth. I have.
Cannot wait to hear.
I was going to say, I think you're really going to enjoy some of the commentary. And somebody phrased the thoughts that I was having so well that I just want to, fabulous metaphor. And Judy said, one snag can pull it loose, and then the unraveling. Love the way the poem develops. I think it was Kim, though, who said there's a quietness to the poems, and I'm trying to find it, Kim, exactly. Could you express what you were experiencing? I found it. Kim said, the poems reach out seemingly tentative, yet they end so strong with such revelations. There's such a quietness to how your poems build that I was fascinated with. There was another thing that Andy talked about with the beautiful movement within the poems. And it's just lovely, Elizabeth. Just really a wonderful, quiet building in your work that is very fulfilling as a reader to listen to.
Thank you.
And there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Do people have questions for Elizabeth? Anything you want to? Okay, Susanna, jump in.
I was just curious to know what your writing process is. I know that you and we emailed a few times about your different situation, your conditions, and I was curious to know, where does this remarkable voice come from, and how do you set yourself down every day to write? Or do you?
Well, I don't. I try to, but there are good days and there are bad days. There are days when my brain just does not work. In some ways, well, I have different chronic conditions. One of them is narcolepsy, and in some ways, narcolepsy actually informs my poetry in some ways, in that I have this superpower, and that is I can be awake and asleep at the same time. Who can say that they can do that, except for people with narcolepsy? I can also be dreaming while I'm awake, otherwise known as hallucinating. And I think that that helps. It helps in specifically in writing poems to have access to a state that's sort of in between this world and another.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense to you?
Total sense. Yeah, that makes complete sense. Yeah.
I also, I think I'll stop there before I get into something complicated.
It was
Hopefully
lovely to
helps.
hear that, though. And I think that there's something that rings very authentic with the sense of almost an ethereal quality to some of your work. That's interesting. And I know, Katie, you asked a question. You're welcome to unmute and ask it. I saw it in the chat section.
I wondered if you might speak a little bit to your dedication to Jason Schinder.
Oh, okay. This book is dedicated to Jason Schinder, the late Jason Schinder. My partner and I worked with him quite a bit. My partner more so as the co-director of the National Writers' Voice in New York. He was the founder and director. And he encouraged me so much with my poems, and I was really lucky to be in New York and to have access to low-cost writing workshops through the National Writers' Voice. And when I was wondering how I was possibly going to get blurbs for this book, I kept thinking Jason would write one for me, but so I reached out to his to one of our mutual friends, ML Liebler, and said, "How do you get blurbs?" And he said, "You think about all the poets that you love, and then you write to them and ask them if they would write blurbs for you." So that's what I did. I don't know. I'm a little nervous, and so I don't know what I'm saying is making sense, but the book is dedicated to Jason. I miss him very much. We all miss him very much, and he did a lot for the poetry community.
Very, very lovely to hear that story. I love the backstory. So Katie, thank you for asking that. And Elizabeth, I think about my friend Kimberly Becker talked at North Carolina Poetry Society, and she was saying that she was always taught that, when you start having some successes, that you hold the door open for someone else, because the doors were held open for you by someone. And you really are speaking to that, the power of our community. I'm very grateful to be part of a community that does do that, that does inspire and support and encourage. And boy, I'm so glad he did, because I can't imagine your book not being out in the world.
Yeah, it took a long time getting there, but
yeah. Oh, I know. I did want to ask about the cover, because it's such a striking cover.
I'm so glad I got to use this. This is a photograph of Violet Trefusis, who was a longtime lover of Vita Sackville West. And Mary, if you're here, we were both very excited. This was, I think, in one of the one issue of Lavender Review. Is that right? Chime in there.
Put a heart up, so I think that's correct.
And so I was just scanning, trying to find appropriate artwork, and when I found it, I was like, "Oh, this is it." And I think, is it Risa that worked on the making it so that I could use it?
No, it was Rita Mae Reese.
I'm sorry, Rita
That's
Mae
okay.
Reese. Forgive me. She made this. I don't know. There was a question of the. Oh, I'm losing my words.
The
Resolution.
Yeah, the resolution, right.
And so she did some magic on it to make the resolution good enough for the cover. So it's one of my favorite things about it.
Isn't that lovely that you found the perfect cover for it? And I love I love hearing those backstories and resolution. Blessings to the tech people, because that's something I do. So I have another question that has come up in the chat section. Could you speak a little bit about the title, Windowpanes?
Ooh. Well, there is a poem in the book called Windowpanes. It's one of the shorter poems. There are a lot of very short poems in this book, and I think that the shorter poems also speak to my writing process and how it is often interrupted. Anyway, so Windowpanes, my first draft of Windowpanes was the first poem that I ever published, and it was published in the Asheville Poetry Review. And when it was the original version, I was playing around with shape and I put it into like 4/4. It's not like that anymore, and it's pared down quite a bit. But the original one was a shape poem, which is very unusual for me. And I chose that as the title. And I had a very smart friend, Lisa Marling, who helped me kind of create this these views. And we called each section like upper right, upper left, lower, lower. Boy, I can't even do right from left right now. And they represent multiple perspectives and multiple views. And did I answer the question?
Yes, and also now somebody has put in the chat section, it's the first poem in the book, right? You should read it.
No, it's
Would
not.
you be really-
It's not the first poem. It's in the book. I think it's
I think, Laura, you're talking about it was the first poem published.
the first. Yeah.
Actually, it's the first poem that they show you on Amazon
Ah,
when you do the preview.
You're kidding. It's on page 42.
Well, they randomly picked it, so.
Weird. It's in the lower right section. Do you want me? I want to make sure everyone has time to read.
we are good on time. I think most of us want to go, yes, Elizabeth, please read another one.
It's okay. Windowpanes. I thought I was broken. The bird threw itself, suicide at my mother's reflection, the 4/4 of her face. I learned that glass is a liquid. I thought about my own body of water, how I see my father reflected there.
Holy smokes. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you. I love the visual idea of upper right corner and how that kind of works, laying it out. And, you know, I also thought about, yeah, breathless, what images, Andy? Yep. And so that's the same thing you said. So Karen wrote, I love Windowpanes as a title. It conjures different views and light and all sorts of wonderful things to behold. It's perfect for this collection. Yes.
That the beginning of that is just, it's magic. It just sucks you right in. It's an incredible opening.
Thank you.
Welcome.
My sense is I don't see any other questions. If I've missed somebody or if I've overlooked or you have a question, feel free to unmute and jump in. If not, we'll take a moment to thank Elizabeth for a stunning reading and thank you for sharing your work with us. Thank you,
Thank you
Elizabeth.
for having me. I can't wait to hear everyone's poems. Bring on the open mic.
Awesome. We will do so. So I do have a list of people that are willing to read tonight. And my first reader, I'm going to Julian, I am coming your way. There we go.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I almost don't want to read after that. What a wonderful time we've had tonight. Elizabeth, such wonderful poems. I love them all. This poem of mine is an experiment in trying to cross the lines between genres. And it's called Wind in the Willow, which is comes from an old rock song. And it has an epigraph from W.H. Auden's Hymn to Saint Cecilia. I cannot err, there is no creature whom I belong to, whom I could wrong. And that's spoken by music itself, if you know that poem. Big Easy has Bourbon Street and the world's best Mardi Gras. But blues might rather be in Memphis or Chicago with Johnny Shines. And rock and roll was born in East St. Louis, or at least Chuck Berry claimed it was. Across the river now, there's a duck room in his honor at Blueberry Hill. And an 8-foot bronze duck walks his Gibson down Del Mar to a concrete park. Blueberry Hill's proprietor, Joe Edwards, plus U-City and the feds, built a trolley nobody takes from the History Museum on De Bolivar up the loop to Edwards' place of business on the mistaken theory that tourists might like to catch a ride there, where the father of rock played a show a week for years. Bi-State Development continues to operate the trolley, a scheme hatched locally to keep its local owners from having to return the feds' grant money. And we hear now they've applied for yet another grant. But now that Barry's gone to his reward, and Johnny B. Good's keyboards draw no more angels down, though the two of them reconciled after Johnny sued and played together again from time to time. Perhaps they convalesce on shores of their oblivion, each surprised to find the other, each wearing his tribulation like a rose.
Oh, Julian, fabulous. Thank you. Like a rose. Don't forget to check the comments, Julian. Art, I am coming your way. And there we go. It'll take me just a minute. We're good.
Okay, I was just saying, tapping to Julian, rock and roll, and I love the ending. Really good. This is as yet untitled. Formatically, it's 3 stanzas, 8 lines each. I am a pentameter. Poet friend of mine from nearby says she was a bicentennial baby. So I was thinking, where was I during the bicentennial? No, here it is. The bicentennial summer began with me flying over red, white, and blue America. The nation putting the ghost of Watergate behind it a few months after China flew the Nixons for a private visit. Robert Altman's flick Nashville mixed bombast and aspiration before country music became real cool. Summer began on both sides of the wall, where I read a book in the West and all about it in the East near the Brandenburg Gate. The Fopos missed the Maoist screed in my notebook one bright morning, so I deftly tore it apart in a dimly lit U-Bahn station before nonchalantly continuing research I soon gave up. My life revolved around separate poles which I could not reconcile. Competing career paths, a divided city, and Homeland's past and its confusing present. Answers came later that summer, in and around Assisi. Answers that would be connected later in wondrous ways that I never dared to dream existed. That's it.
Fabulous. Thank you, Art. I love that. I love the sound that was there. It was very upbeat, and my life revolved around separate poles.
Yeah, and it does. And the cover of my first book is a painting of Umbria near Assisi. My friend and creative partner Carol Worthington Levy points. She does my book covers.
Oh, that's fabulous.
So
I wish you had one you could hold it up. And just a
let me
reminder,
see if I
awesome. Just a reminder that you can put.
handy.
You have it?
Well, I can grab a copy here, but do I have to do the etiquette and take this off the camera? Or can I just stand camera? I mean, it doesn't matter to me.
You're fine. You can stand
Okay.
and grab it if you want to. Just a reminder, if you do have a new book out and you would like to announce it, please feel free to put it in the chat section. And that way people can, track it down. And
Will
Art, I
do.
might,
Will do.
okay, I'll come back to you. I'm gonna
Do
go to
that.
Laura and then I'll come back. You got it?
And before we leave tonight,
Okay,
I'll have
perfect.
it out.
That's the way to do it.
Thanks.
All right, Laura, I'm with you now.
Hey, everybody. This is a short one. It's fresh ink. It's called Ripe. Plum purpling on the ledge. I creep to the edge of the counter. Teeth rupture blue black skin to sip the golden summer sun within. My mouth is a dam that cannot contain you. Sweet juices that sing of August burst from my mouth. Oh, rapture, rapture. Thank you.
That's fabulous. Thank you. That is lovely. Yep, that new poem smell. My mouth is a dam. I love this open mic. Susanna, I'm coming to you next. There we go. I see you.
Okay, this one was published in Gyroscope Review last summer. It's called Lizard Wish. I pull over safely to the side of the road, making sure to park cleanly off the highway. I set the parking brake, exit after checking for oncoming traffic, and click the door lock on the key fob and walk into the scrub of the desert, into the wild blue sky, toward no goal, though the red rock mountain stands before me, solid and absolute. I walk until consideration falls away. I walk until propriety and dutifulness are just words. I abandoned first my blouse, then my binding bra. Elastic and metal wire and hooks drag through the desert dirt till it drops from the tips of my fingers. Legs grow stronger, browner, sinewy legs, hopscotch legs, ballerina legs, middle-aged market lady legs walk me deeper, walk me knowingly away from here. My lizard body knows what it wants, the sun on my back, the heat on my belly, a hot rock in a red desert to lay down on, the length of my heart.
Oh, that is lovely. Yeah, you got a lot of comments going up there. I think we all like the middle-aged market lady legs and hopscotch
Yes.
legs.
Yes, yes.
Fabulous. Amy, I am coming to you and give me just a minute. There we go. I see you. Fabulous.
All right. I'm going to read a poem from my new poetry collection, Defying Extinction. And this is called Sacred Rock. Pouty-mouthed figures with ribbony arms in majestic and languid poses fill the rooms of Pace Gallery. Many recall the sharply chiseled face of Abraham Lincoln. Some wink, others hide eyes. I meet the aristocrat, Hades head, and cave girl. Hollowed in precious white rock from Carrara, where anarchy boomed in the 1800s and ex-convicts and fugitives worked the mines. Dangerous work still, but marble thrives. Retracing Michelangelo's steps, an Irish artist travels to Pietrasanta at the foot of Tuscany's Apuan Alps. He builds trust with families whose artisan studios eschew machines. Kevin Francis Gray sculpts from a prized resource that glitters in raw form, fashions his version of David. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Amy. Please put links in for your book. Amy celebrated here and it was just amazing. Yeah.
Thanks.
Marble. Yes. Gorgeous. Judy, we are coming your way. Yeah.
I'm assuming I'm unmuted.
Yes, ma'am. You're perfect.
Okay. I just happened to stumble across this very tiny poem in the process of putting together a new manuscript, and it pleased me, so I thought I'd read it. It's the title goes into the poem itself. Bodily pain sways over his beer in a bar. Familiar, presumptuous, he tells the same story over and over with slurred conviction. It's fresh to him, scandalous, astonishing, augural. He's a proselytizer for a church of one. Back and forth he rocks like a lonely bell, tolling, tolling on an island in the middle of the ocean.
Oh, that's freaking fabulous. A church of one. This is so good. We have oh, and also Judy, I'm glad that you're working on a new book. I'm super excited about that.
I'm sure it's going to be a while.
Yeah, but if you could put a link into your most recent one that we celebrated here, that would be fabulous. Just a reminder, that's a good way for people to follow up and follow their passion and support our community. Yeah, I love the speaker of one. Andy, I am coming your way. There we go. I see you now. And don't forget to unmute.
Thanks. I don't know what's wrong with my screen, but it is what it is. Sorry. This is really short also. It was picked up by Stone Pacific Zoo. At my funeral, please don't read from fine parchment. Silenced, letters lie between intersections of dusty drawers, clenched fingers crumpled paper. Your ghostwriter plagiarized my air, surrounded by fertile lies, sterile sounds, their collision. Tonight, I sleep where we slept. Hall lights frighten. I write our obituary. You won't read it anyway. And boom.
Fabulous. Thank you.
You're
Oh,
welcome.
wow.
So,
Yes. Well, once again, guys, thank you for an amazing open mic. I love this.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
what a fabulous night we had getting to celebrate with you, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Yes.
We are perfect. We have 5 more minutes. So if there's something, and we can come back to you if you found the cover. Lest I forget. Oh, that's a lovely color. Would you cover? Will you hold it up one more moment?
Yeah, let me get up here. I was trying to get a link in the chat, but the poetry books are all on Amazon, or mostly on Amazon, the novel and blur, but this is seen from Narasisi. So
Awesome. Thank you. And I also just realized, Karen, I had you multitasking, so you didn't even get to sign up for open mic. So I'm coming your way.
That is all good. I don't want to be the last person though, so I'm hoping somebody else hasn't read and they're gonna hop in here when I do my thing, after I do my thing. So okay, so this is some pretty fresh ink, new, I think yesterday, day before. I'm dedicating this to you tonight, Christy. How our fathers come to us so easily after their passing, with no tools in hand, with no need to fix whatever has broken or might be in process of breaking, with no need to fix us, whatever has broken us or might be in process of breaking us. No tweaking of thises or that's or us, just visiting. There are no, not quite the right words, no, almost not awkward hugs, no wafts of cigarette smoke, scent, just visiting. So we know, so we won't, don't forget. So they know nothing needs fixing. It's like this for everyone, isn't it?
Oh, Karen, that is gorgeous. And that is the perfect poem to end on. Sorry. No need to fix anything, just visiting. Thank you. I'm really glad you read. All right, guys, be well. Thank you so much for making our Thursday just amazing. Have a
Thanks,
good night.
Malika.
It was so
Oh,
great
my
to
pleasure.
hear
And
you.
Elizabeth.
Thank you. Beautiful reading.
Elizabeth.
It was
great,
Elizabeth.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Thanks, everyone else. Bye now.
Beautiful.
I know.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Melissa.